Well folks, 2021 is coming to a close, and there's almost too many jokes relevant to the year for me to cram into one intro. But if you survived the year without taking horse medication to avoid COVID, and if you haven't spent several $100,000 on the PNG of a monkey, you're probably in the right headspace to stroll with me through a talk about Halo. I'm the Home Slice, Ascend, Hyperion. And in my last video of 2021, I want to reflect on the content I've put out this year. While one could argue this is a fairly educational channel aimed at teaching people about Halo, none of that teaching I do comes without some learning on my end. And in my never-ending quest to bring you fresh-baked Halo content, I have to constantly research new ideas, test theories, derive ideas, and most importantly, I have to learn more about Halo. I'd like to share with you all some of the things I've learned about Halo this year that give me new appreciations for the franchise, its players, and its developers. Consider this your Ascend Hyperion booster shot. Let's start by toggling on some controversy. In January, I stepped into the fray of the armor toggle debate when I published my admittedly satirical video about whether or not Halo Infinite should have toggles. I poked plenty of fun in this video, but all the points I brought up were extremely valid. Toggles have got to be one of my least favorite things to ever happen to a game. To me, they represent just how emotionally sensitive gamers have become, as now we're all so dramatically defensive of how we play games, we're demanding developers allow us to eliminate the expressions of other players. What made it even worse was how people wanted to disable free content. Free! Now that we're roughly 1 month into Halo Infinite, shit, I'd love to see a guy using the Ryan helmet if I knew he got it for free. The Ryan armor would probably be like $80 in Halo Infinite. I am thankful 343 kept toggles out of Infinite, but when I really think about it, they probably kept it out because if I had the option to turn off armor some guy paid $20 for, Daddy Microsoft probably wouldn't be too happy about the lack of purchase pressure in the pre-game lobby. Say that 5 times fast. On a much brighter note, I got to spend a lot more time talking about weapons this year. I put out almost a dozen videos talking just about weapons and the weapons sandbox. These topics forced me to get intimate with weapons I had previously mostly dejected, like the focus rifle or the storm rifle. I actually really enjoyed the storm rifle video topic and research period because it honestly gave me a brand new appreciation for just not it, but the Halo 4 sandbox in general. And that appreciation wasn't like a, oh man, this gun is perfect, I love it type of thing. I came to appreciate how such a simple weapon was really the forefront of 343's new effort to create balance in the Halo sandbox. And in a dash of tragedy, it was denied its glory by custom classes, yet another 343 attempt at design. What it really makes me wonder is how different Halo 4 would have been without custom classes, and if its sandbox experience had been along the lines of traditional Halos where everything was pickup based, would players have disliked the game as much as they did? I did a fair share of nitpicking on custom classes. It was in this video where I really buckled down and for the first time I called a design bad. I have strict rules about simply labeling things good or bad, but after really analyzing the negative impacts of custom classes in Halo 4, it felt more than justified. And it's a great example of how something with good enough intentions can still yield negative results. Hey, speaking of good intention and bad results, I made a lot of people upset this year. Some of my most disliked videos ever are Freshman Class 2021. Like when I tried to convince people Recon was a paywalled armor set, or when I told people it was time to get rid of the Spartan Laser. I don't know if people bought the Recon video, but here I am playing Halo Infinite having a great time knowing the Splazer is nowhere to be found. Just so you guys know, I didn't actually know the Splazer was getting cut when I made that video. It was kind of like a happy, unhappy coincidence depending on your POV on it, and that was a user suggested topic that I sat down and did the research on. It was a concept that I was already kind of aware of. I already had some misgivings for the Spartan Laser as I was talking more and more about the sandbox in these videos, but that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Now, I really went against the grain when I spoke out against the nostalgia hype Infinite's campaign received, to which people were very upset. But that's fine. People understood the multiplayer version of that video much more. I think one of my more favorite topics was how good maps are boring maps. Also, God bless the people who take every single word I say literally, because they struggled with this one. As someone who spent a lot of time in a map design headspace, a self-certified pro forger, and now credited member of the Halo dev team on the Forge Council, map design is something I know a lot about, but seldom get to talk about. Halo maps have really become sterile in their ideas, and just like most other FPS games where only really plain 3-lane arena maps get used because that's what simpleton esports players like. I think this video really showed people how much character older map designs used to have, and it was an eye-opener for many that there was no reason we couldn't have generic HCS maps and then more traditional quirky ones too. It's great to see Halo Infinite use launch site as an experimental hybrid of the two. Let's say arena-esque designs coexist with quirks like asymmetry, launchers and lifts, and then the cheesy stuff like throwable fusion coils and vehicles on 4v4 maps. Overall, my work exploring and explaining the last 20 years of Halo has put me in a very unique space to enter and then start critiquing Halo Infinite in. The designs, ideas, and rhetorics of Halo's past are fresh in my mind, and with every step I take into Infinite, I find myself working to draw lines, connections, or disparities between the two. Halo Infinite is in many ways one of the hardest Halo games to date to critique, because I don't have the advantage of time anymore. I don't have 10 years, 15 years more experience with this game. I have about almost as much time as you guys have had. So much of what I'm deriving and understanding and learning is in real time, and there is a lot of range for me to be wrong. I love the Halo franchise. In very few other FPS games has there been such a simultaneously unique set of games and yet a strangely unified experience. All these games are speaking a fascinating language between them, and it feels like few people have been listening close enough to hear the conversation being had. My goal is to decipher the 2-decade-old legacy of Halo and deliver it to you so that we can speak the same language for the next decades to come. In 2022, the content only gets fresher. Some ideas will be even more controversial. Some topics will aim to explain the unexplainable. But regardless, up until this point, you have all looked for one familiar face when it comes time to talk Halo. In 2022, I'm honored to have you all looking for that same face yet again. Here's your last viewer question of 2021. What did you learn about Halo this year? Thank you for an amazing year. Join me on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord as we enter the next year of fresh-baked Halo content.